So I grew up learning how to fish shallow all year long. Throw a lot of handmade balsa baits, a lot of square bills. You're going to hear me talk a lot today about flat-sided crankbaits. How many of you in here have fished with a flat-sided crankbait? All right. You're going to hear me talk a lot about that. Flat-sided baits excel very good in cold water, and it's a bait that I feel a lot of guys don't throw anymore. You know, square bills come to the market, and everybody thinks that the square bill is the deal. That guy all the way back there in the corner, Cliff Crochet, he's a square bill freak. He probably doesn't even own a flat bait, but that's good. I always try to do things different than everybody else are doing. You know, everybody thinks since we're professional anglers, we got secret lures in our tackle box that the rest of the world don't have. And yeah, sometimes that's true. We get new colors that are coming out and things like that. But for the most part, I use the same baits that everybody else uses. I try to fish them in a little different manner. For those of you that were here last year, you keep hearing me talk about try to do things different than everybody else is doing that's on the water. So let's get started talking about seasonal shallow cranking. I don't know what my next slide here is going to be. All right, cranking locations by season. We're going to break this down: spring, summer, fall, winter. Okay. For me, my absolute favorite cranking time is that early, what I call late winter, early spring, when that water's cold, you know, 42 to 47 degree water, times when a lot of people think you can't catch them cranking, you know. And depending on, you know, where you're at in the country is going to be very important to the type areas you fish. You know what I mean? If you're on a river, if you're on a highland lake, if you're on a man-made reservoir, all your lakes are going to be different. It's all going to also depend on what species of fish are in that body of water that you're fishing. You know, is there largemouth? Is there smallmouth? Is there spotted bass? And when you take all that into consideration, you got to look at the places that those fish are going to set up. Okay, so let's talk about that early or late winter, early springtime when that water is extremely cold. Okay, there is no time more important than this flat bait right here. Okay, a flat-sided balsa bait to me excels the best in that cold water. Okay, the locations that you're going to want to look at. Okay, and this is all over the country, regardless of where you go. I always look, okay, that time of the year, starting on channel swing banks, bluff banks, any type area that has a channel swing that kisses up against it or has that deeper water access, okay? What you want to key on there is, you know, them fish are wintering there. They stay there, and that's where they're going to be, okay? My favorite area is where that channel swing or that bluff end or whatever peters out or comes into some type of a shallow type area, okay? I call that the tail of the channel swing or however you want to call it, okay? To me, that is the absolute best area to shallow crank, okay? Early or late winter, early spring, find those channel swings, find those areas on them channel swings where they flatten out, you know, where the channel swing swings and then it ends at a flat. You know, where it's going to go into that flat. And you know, there's always going to be some kind of transition there. There's always going to be chunk rock. There's always going to be pea gravel. And the transition areas, I cannot stress this enough, the transition areas are your key areas, okay? That time of the year, that is the deal. I mean, I'm not going to say you can't run up there and catch 1 and 2 foot of water on a shallow flat, okay? And like I said, we're gearing this toward shallow cranking. You know what I mean? A lot of guys like to crank deep. I just never have been a big fan of deep cranking, okay? I'll be honest with you. In my this will be my 13th year on the tour. I've weighed in one fish on a big deep diving crankbait.
Welcome to Bass University TV, an online video training course where you'll learn champion bass fishing techniques from pro anglers Pete Glusek, Mike Iaconelli, and their talented special guests. From on the water to in the classroom, you'll learn sound techniques and strong fundamental bass fishing skills. Watch hours of video content on multiple topics at your own pace for a low monthly fee. Cancel at any time. Information is power in the sport of fishing, so learn from the very best. Subscribe to Bass University TV today.